Hi, family. Today is 4/4/2018, and in numerology, that is 4411, amplified by 3 zeros. And that's cool because number 4 is 1111, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is a square, like you can imagine, like the four corners, like the perfect cube, which is who we are, which is creation. So it's kind of cool. Anyway, I wanted to read a little bit to you, but I wanted to have a toke and share this anointment of setting the frequency and grounding the energy and connecting with you and showing that cannabis is a healer. So, I wanted to read a section for you out of the Spiritual Laws of Ek. This section of the book is called Attitudes. This book is really amazing, and it really just lays things out in ways that are just really, really wonderful. So I'm going to read Attitudes. Attitudes, the fifth law of the physical universe, or law of the states of being. The power of imagination rules over will and the actions in this universe. Okay. The fifth law of the physical universe is the law of attitudes, or states of being. Frankly, everything that operates with the laws of this part is capable of performing miracles. Not will, but the power of imagination rules our actions in this universe. I really like that, because it really is like a state of mind. Our projection and reflection is our attitudes. It's the way that we recognize the laws of nature. And the laws of nature are set in place because when we realize and we can recognize and feel and embrace, embody and reflect energy, we recognize that it's not about just being human. We become mindful of our thoughts. We become mindful of our actions. We become mindful of the way that we treat ourselves and we treat others. And so there are laws of nature that we must abide by if we want to align with the channel, if we want to learn the magic of manifestation, if we just want to be happy for a change and be authentic in that happiness, that state of being, that mindfulness goes a long way. We can keep rebelling against the system all we want, but there are laws set in place. And it's just about the way that we work the energetic magic. Okay, so back to what I was reading. I'm reading the spiritual laws of Ek, and I'm reading about the section called Attitudes. Lai Si says, I have learned to stand back and let the divine work through me. We find that this is the simplest way of doing it. I found when adopting a certain attitude that I made contact with this power. It was an attitude of curious, childlike devotion to the Great Spirit. So many people want this childlike state, but the urgency of their physical needs causes tension and fear, thus closing the channel between themselves and the spirit. Anxiety and fear are tension emotions, fastening the person rigidly into the emotional plane of consciousness so that he cannot reach the spiritual plane where things come true. Competition intensifies the attitude of tension. Tension springs from fear. Fear rises out of excessive self-love. Excessive self-love cuts one off from the contact with the Ek. Thus, the qualities leading to satisfaction, happiness, and growth are not achieved. Anyone who recognizes his self as soul relaxes at once, for he can truly say, I am the Father are one. In this relaxed way, all channels from within are opened. Briefly, the law of attitudes goes like this. It is the corrected feeling and pictures you carry in your mind constantly. If you decide to take a picture with the camera, let's say of a tree, and you do so, you view the pictured tree in the viewfinder. After a few days, you get the pictures back from the camera shop, and you are not surprised that it is really a picture of the tree you took. This is simply the same way life works. When we think we can imagine something in our minds, we are citing pictures in the viewfinder of the mind, which means to the channel. The thought vibrations within us deal with the exposed films we have made, and presently finished picture comes into visibility in our lives. It's as simple as that. And so what that's saying is that when we align, when we get in the path of the visions that we want, and we set a frequency of authenticity from within ourselves, the channel activates us to assist. And so when we become mindful of our thoughts and the way that we think and feel about people and ourselves, because if you sit around all day and you think really poorly of other people and you're judging other people and you're not mindful of your own thoughts, that is the same reaction, that is the same mirrored image that you're going to project, that you're going to attract. It's the law of attraction. Law of attraction and manifesting just isn't about abundance of riches, family. Like, it's about attracting everything in this life. Except when we get in a way of attracting bad things, we want to blame other people and other things instead of going, oh, you know what? Maybe I'm the one bringing that in. The channel assists when we align. That's it. Period. It's that simple. If you want to make your life better, change your thought processes. I still think really horrible things sometimes, like things that are so dark and ugly that I would not dare repeat out loud, because we have a channel and there's travelers and there's people, I call them, that come in and out, and they say things as they come by. It's part of it. Like when we recognize that we are a host of beings, interdimensional traveling beings, we can recognize that it's okay for us to think bad things. It happens. It's just a matter of what we do with them. I mean, I feel like I am in a really solid, really mindful, really happy place of enlightenment, meditative state of mind within myself. But that doesn't mean that I still don't have all of this information coming in and out. That's not mine. And so when we recognize that that is the shift, the darkness and the light, it's going to be there. It's a matter of going, whoa, 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 okay. Now I understand. Now I get it. Not all thoughts are our own, because where do they come from? Like, this is an assisted, co-created, experience. And then when we as humans decide to get outside of that spectrum of thinking that it's all about us, we get to unify. That's the twin flame union. You unify with yourself and the channel. Therefore, we begin to align with other people. We get to attract the things that we want in our life because we're flowing to the rhythm of what we see within. And we let go of the judgment of others. Like, I'm doing it more and more. That's why I'm speaking out and speaking my truth. Like, I'm not trying to get you to do anything that you don't want to do. I believe in absolute freedom. I believe in choices, even if they're bad ones. Like, I own all that. I choose to make good choices. And so it's just that simple. Okay. Every present thought solidifies into a future condition. Remember that the subtle forces within man are the same, but the important thing is manner in which we call upon it. If we speak it into negative terms, it responds in that manner. Just what I was saying. We impose, meaning you and I, we impose self-limitations upon ourselves to give the power of opportunity to work through the subconscious mind. And so, the subconscious mind, that's something that's really, really important to understand, because the subconscious mind is the pre-programmed part of the human mind that just like goes on automatic. And we program it. We allow the outside world to program it. If we choose, if we, it depends on our awareness. We don't realize it's happening until we realize it's happening. And then we can change it. And so whatever you're feeding your mind with consciously, it's programmed in the subconscious mind. And what you're programming it with subconsciously is programmed in the subconscious mind. And the conscious mind, which is the awareness that a human has, programs that subconscious flow by our reactions to it. So if things are popping in your mind or you're reacting to someone in a way that doesn't align, you're not only programming deeper into the void of the vortex of the mind that, doesn't know the distinction, and you're programming the person that or the people you're engaging with. Like, we are influential people. We must understand the power of influence. Like, whether you believe it or not, you're a very influential person. We don't realize that. Everything we do and say and think influences the flow of energy. When we realize that what we think, we project, we receive back, no matter what. And so, feed the listeners in your mind with what you want, because they're there to assist you. Don't keep feeding it with things you don't want. Don't keep feeding it with things that you don't want for other people, because that's what happens. And what you send to other people, you get back, just like I do. Send the love, receive the love. It's very, very simple. This is the attitude we take in life on the path to God. We don't say, I'm afraid to step out in life because I'll be shown up as ignorant. We step out boldly and courageously. We learn things. We're willing to make a fool of ourselves just for the sake of experience or learning. That's true mastery. That is when you have reached a true place of a plateau of being evolved within your being. When you can stand in that position right there that I just read, and you're willing to push past the fear of judgment, you're willing to do what you want to do for yourself and learn from others along the way. Like, I am not perfect, but I am perfect in my mastery because that's what feels good to me, even when it doesn't. You reach the perfection you want for yourself. And it doesn't matter what anyone else tells you, because when you're in line with listening, you're also in line with learning, seeing, feeling, and evolving. It's okay to admit when we do things that don't feel good. That's the mastery. That's the perfection. And it sets a frequency much greater than hate. Because even when we're given hate, if we stand in the line of our authenticity, when that person goes away, that echoes and echoes and echoes and echoes. And we forget and we forget and we forget because we don't hold on to the attachments of that. That's called planting the seed. That's called protecting your empath, setting up energetic boundaries with people. Okay. It says, in Ek, we understand that the mind runs in a rut. We pick up habits as children, we carry into the teen years and become hardened and solidified as we grow older. Anger and other attitudes of the mind stem from these habits, subconscious mind programming. The only thing that is greater than the mind is the soul, which is the heart chakra. That's the portal for that. It is above the power of the mind. And it is the only thing able to nudge the mind out of its rut. Right there. So when we understand that we have two different channels, like the moon is attached to upgrading the brain. I understand that part. The heart chakra, it's connected to the sun photons. So that's the heart and throat chakras. And so both of those all have a channel. And the pineal gland, whether science has it written or not, from my experience and my channels and my fields, the pineal gland is the main source of communication to the other dimension. Like, there's like when you smoke DMT and you go over across with the other deities, that is the pineal gland. So I feel as though we have three channels. And so all of that is working together at one time. And so with that being said, when the human recognizes that it's not in control, but a receiver and a listener to then shift the energy to control the attraction, therefore it's a co-creative control. We're able to surrender and listen and be mindful, like it's okay to be happy, you know. It's okay to let it go. We know that we can shape our future because the future is unformed. We can make it, you can make it what you want, but first you have to be able to visualize what you want very clearly. Visualize it, embrace it, release and allow, and then flow in the channel stuff that comes in after that. Set the intention. You know, that's mind magic. Set the vision through the channel to send it off for the guides to start bringing it back. It's co-created. Unfortunately, most people look for materialistic goals such as money, health, wealth, and companionship. But I am going to mention this. As Jesus said, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all things shall be added unto you." Make sure that your goal is worth the trouble. It's exactly right. Like when we recognize that there are sources higher than us, but yet part of us, that's why they're there. Therefore, we are one. Like we are our own kingdom of God. We all embody Jesus Christ. We all embody all of the ascended masters or whatever we want to call it. We don't even have to name it. We don't have to chase it. It's already here. To develop this creative imagination, work with these spiritual exercises of Ek. Experiment freely with these techniques. What you're looking for is to have experience with the sound and light, where you will have adventures in other worlds. Through the channel, with the assisted guidance of the guardians, of the angels, the ascended masters, the aliens, the ETs, the deities, whatever we want to call it. It's you. Through the parallel, through the holographic diagram of the grid of our existence, which is being recreated through us as our human vessels. And that's the mission of this life, is to co-create in a way that continues to raise the vibration and heal, get back to the natural sources of our being and not what the outside world has programmed us to see. Like, it's okay to go, oh my God, it was all an illusion, fuck. And then go, okay, all right. And then you push it out of the way and just keep doing what's up. Whatever is in the consciousness is bound to come forth. It can be compulsive or of the free will, mindful or just naturally existing. Either way, we're aware of what's going on. The covert negative attitudes that one has against another or against certain segments of life will leap out in time. For example, if a person has many covert attitudes against men and women, it is doubtful if he can confront his fellow man. This is the type of person who spends too much time alone. If you have so much hatred and so many judgments and nasty things to say about your fellow mates, but you're not saying it to your fellow mates to speak your truth, then what kind of truth is that? I mean, I walk in the line of speaking my own truth, the things I feel and the things I see. And if they align with you, great. And if they don't, that's great too. I don't wish any ill will or have preconceived judgments or think anyone should do anything other than just do what feels good. If it feels good, it is good. And if it doesn't, it isn't. Don't do too many things with people at this nature, like precipitating their anger, because it will definitely pull their triggers and they will go down the dwindling spiral in a hurry. Some cases are suicides. The karma created out of some action against someone else keeps the individual in a constant quarrel, mainly with themselves. Many times they believe that they are quarreling with another, but it's with themselves. And that's it, really. I have learned and am learning that battling another human, mind boxing, I call it, was from a place of integrity with me, because I always wanted people to see the truth, but I wasn't giving it to myself. And since I have learned and am shifting to maintain the balance of being kind to myself, being gentle to myself as I go through my integration process, I'm doing that with other people. And I recognize that I can pick my battles, when to jump in and communicate and explain things to people, or I can just do it. Really it's about doing it in ways that feels good for me, that feels good for you. That's just it at the bottom line. I mean, people are going to want to try to tell you what you know, how you feel, what you think, what you should do. And it's always important to pause for a second and take a look and just see if any of that resonates. And if it doesn't, it's okay. And just be like, okay, nope, next. Like, we don't have to take anything from people that we don't want to, ever. And so when we're in the line of not doing that for ourselves, and we're being authentic to who we are internally, it's a byproduct that we do that with other people. And it's okay to tell people, no thanks, not this time, see ya. Because if we don't, that means that we're constantly draining and giving our energy to those that aren't in line to see. It's not that there's anything hateful or anything going on. It just means that people don't see each other at the proper times. And it just takes people to understand that that's okay, instead of trying to battle each other over things that someone else isn't picking up. I think it sets a better frequency not to argue. I think that it allows us to hold the space for other people to move outside of that spectrum of communication. I know I have people that do it for me as I've been on my journey, and I certainly am learning to do that for other people as well. And it really comes from listening and not waiting to respond in thought, quieting the mind to listen and see the person that's speaking for who they are, not the triggered words of their vibration of how it makes you feel. And that's practice. It takes practice, because I'm still doing it too. So anyway, I just wanted to read a little bit of this book for you and share my thoughts of the day. And yeah, love you to the moon.